The walls of Ferrara are the ones that reach the greatest length among those currently preserved and restored in Italy. An architectural and military engineering masterpiece that represents, together with the castle, the most famous and recognizable monument of the Este city. The walls have had a process of construction and expansion result of progressive sedimentation. Their original core is to defend the medieval city with the castle as an extreme bulwark, a defensive perimeter protection from assaults and raids. The current layout is the result of the intuition that leads to the realization of the Erculean Addition, the birth of a city that provides for the first time in the world urban planning. The birth of a city that provides for the first time in the world urban planning. The Estense walls acquire in this way not only a defense value but a representation of the Renaissance city. They contain it, define its boundary and perimetry, they draw its form and its functions, practices, political and philosophical at the same time. The walls are widened in length and width. Towers and buttresses are built. They house the artillery instruments of the Estense, real inventors of the colubrine and the new weapons destined to change the way of conducting battles and wars in Europe. The defensive wall is also an identity card of Ferrara. The Torrione del Barco, with its 21 meters of external diameter, is the largest circular tower built by engineer Biagio Rossetti along the fortified perimeter of the. Built since 1493, the artifact has a very interesting structure for the history of the Este military architecture. Some trapdoors for observation and shooting are still visible. 2 gunboats are also visible, within which heavy artillery was placed to protect and defend the northern entrance of the city. The Porta degli Angeli represents the bastion of the northern entrance of the city of Ferrara and the exit through which the Estense, after lavish parades along Corso Ercole I d'Este, left the city to go to the nearby hunting reserves to the Barco. A historiographical tradition has it that from this gate in January 1598 came out Cesare, the last Este Jew before the devolution of Ferrara to the state of the church, and that immediately after, in memory of the event, the gate was walled. The gate is still improperly indicated by Ferrara as House of the Hangman. Built between 1493 and 1497, the Torrione di San Giovanni guarded the homonymous gate located at the eastern outlet of the Erculean Addition, corresponding to the current courses Porta Paola, Biagio Rossetti and Porta Mare. Between the gate and the homonymous tower, there was the guard body. From here, the sentries could access through a staircase to the upper floor and thus reach the patrol path of the walls, now visible after the restoration of 1990-1991, which led north to Punta della Montagnola. At the base of the inner embankments, in a northerly direction, are still visible the entrances of the underground tunnels built during the Second World War. At the death of Ercole I d'Este, the Rossettiana city wall was almost finished by the Porta di San Benedetto. The southeastern circuit between the Canton del Follo and the Porta di San Giorgio remained unchanged in its medieval structure. It was in this last sector, more vulnerable, that the new Duke Alfonso I d'Este concentrated efforts for a more adequate plane of protection of the city, in anticipation of the resurgence of the military conflict with the Republic of Venice in the future. Among the first measures, it stands out the choice of planting poplar trees in 1508 on all the embankments and to erect in the same year 2 mountains of land close to the perimeter of the wall in function of mastodontic watchtowers on which to place powerful fire mouths. One southwest to guard the river towards the island of Belvedere, the other one to the southeast Built in 1612 on a project by the architect Giovanni Battista Aleotti, Porta Paola is today the largest monumental gate in the city. It is undoubtedly the most prestigious entrance to Ferrara, especially in the late Mannerist and Proto-Baroque architectural language. The structure has performed over time military and customs functions, becoming in the 800 one of the most important tax receivers of the city, equipped with public weighing, with guards and a doorman, which together with the family used some rooms on the upper floor. Considered uninhabitable in 1888 due to poor maintenance.